Point 1. Don't let worry drive your life. Take control. Dale Carnegie once said, "Worry will steer your life if you allow it." This means that if you let worry take over your thoughts and actions, it will control your life's direction. Let's simplify this. Imagine worry as a car that's out of control, zooming down the highway of your mind. If you don't grab the wheel, it will take you places you don't want to go, causing stress, unhappiness, and even health issues. Carnegie gives us real-life examples to make this clearer. He talks about a businessman who was always worried about his financial future. This worry took over his life so much that he couldn't enjoy his current success or spend quality time with his family. His life was controlled by his worry, leading to strained relationships and personal dissatisfaction. But Carnegie doesn't just point out the problem. He also gives us practical solutions. He suggests techniques like living in day-tight compartments, which means focusing on the present day instead of worrying about the future or regretting the past. This is like grabbing the steering wheel of your life, deciding where you want to go instead of being driven by worry. Another technique Carnegie suggests is the law of averages. This means realistically assessing the worst-case scenario and accepting it. This is like understanding the map of your life, knowing the potential pitfalls, and preparing for them, instead of letting worry drive you into them. Carnegie also stresses the importance of staying busy and filling your mind with positive thoughts to push out worry. This is like changing the radio station in your car to one that plays uplifting music instead of one that broadcasts distressing news. In short, Carnegie's message is that you have the power to control your thoughts and, therefore, the direction of your life. If you let worry take the wheel, it will drive you towards stress and unhappiness. But if you take control, focusing on the present, accepting potential problems, and keeping a positive mindset, you can drive your life towards peace and fulfillment. Point 2. Live in the now to ditch your worries. Dale Carnegie, the master of self-help, has a simple yet powerful message for us. Live in the now. Sounds a bit vague, right? But let's break it down. Our minds are like supercomputers, churning out all sorts of thoughts, both good and bad. But when we let ourselves get stuck in the past or worry about the future, we're just inviting stress and anxiety to the party. Carnegie calls this lousy thinking. But when we focus on the here and now, we can use our energy for something useful, like planning and taking action. That's what he calls good thinking. Let's take an example. Carnegie tells us about a woman who was drowning in sorrow after her husband passed away. She was so caught up in her grief that she couldn't see past it. But then she learned to live in the now. She started saying to herself, "Every day is a new life to a wise man." And this helped her focus on the day she was living, not the loss she was feeling. By living each day as it came, she slowly but surely rebuilt her life. This idea of living in the now isn't just some philosophical mumbo-jumbo. It's backed by science. A 2016 study by the Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation found that a whopping 275 million people around the world have anxiety disorders. That's a lot of people worrying, and it shows just how important it is to find ways to manage stress. Living in the now, as Carnegie suggests, is one way that's worked for a lot of people. So, what's Carnegie's advice in a nutshell? Control your thoughts by focusing on the now. By doing this, you can kick worries about the past and future to the curb and use your energy for something useful. Not only can this help reduce stress and anxiety, but it can also make you more productive and improve your life overall. Point 3. Wave goodbye to worries in 3 steps. Let's talk about a simple 3-step method to shoo away those pesky worries that keep you up at night. This isn't just about feeling better mentally, but also physically. Constant worry can lead to all sorts of health problems like stomach ulcers and high blood pressure. So, let's get started on this worry-busting journey. First off, let's take a good, hard look at what's bothering you. Say, you're fretting over a presentation at work. What's the real issue here? Are you scared of speaking in public, unsure about the content, or worried about your colleagues' reactions? By zeroing in on the real problem, you can start figuring out how to fix it. Next, let's think about the worst thing that could happen. Now, this might seem like a strange thing to do. After all, aren't we trying to stop worrying? But bear with me. This step is all about putting things into perspective. Let's go back to that presentation. The worst thing that could happen is you forget your lines. Once you've accepted this, you can start preparing for it. Maybe you'll keep some notes handy or practice a bit more. By facing the worst-case scenario head-on, you're taking away its power to scare you. Finally, let's find a way to make the worst-case scenario a little less scary. This is all about finding the silver lining. So, you forgot your lines during the presentation. It's not the end of the world. Maybe it'll turn into a funny moment that makes your presentation more memorable. Or it could be a learning experience that helps you improve your public speaking skills. By finding the positive in a negative situation, you're turning a potential worry into a win. So, there you have it. A simple 3-step method to kick worries to the curb. By understanding the problem, facing the worst-case scenario, and finding the positive in it, you can reduce your worries and lead a healthier, happier life. Point 4. Face your worries to clear your mind. In the world of business, there's a tale of a successful entrepreneur from the East who credits his triumphs to his unique way of dealing with worries. He treats his worries like a math problem, breaking it down step by step. Let's take a closer look at his method. First off, he identifies what's bothering him. This is the worry, the problem that needs solving. Next, he digs deeper to find out why this worry exists. What's causing it? Once he's got a handle on the root cause, he starts brainstorming. He comes up with a list of possible solutions to tackle this worry. Finally, he weighs up these solutions and picks the one that seems most effective. Think of it like tidying up a messy room. When everything's in disarray, it's hard to think straight. But once you start sorting things out, putting them in their proper places, the room becomes less chaotic, and so does your mind. The same goes for worries. When you're swamped with them, your mind is a mess. But when you start breaking them down and dealing with them one by one, your mind becomes clearer. What's more, this method takes the emotion out of worries. Emotions can often muddle our thinking and stop us from making logical decisions. By treating worries as problems that need solving, you're stepping back from the emotional side of things and focusing on the logical side. This helps you make decisions that are based on reason, not emotion. Let's say you're worried about giving a presentation at work. Instead of letting the worry take over, you can break it down. Identify the problem. You're scared of public speaking. Find out why. Maybe you're not prepared enough or you lack experience. Come up with solutions. Practice more. Get feedback. Learn from successful speakers. Pick the best solution, maybe a mix of all three. This way, you're not just dealing with your worry, you're also improving your skills. In a nutshell, facing and breaking down your worries is a practical and effective way to clear your mind. It helps you understand your fears, find solutions, and make decisions based on reason. It's like having a compass in a storm, guiding you to calmer waters. Point 5. Keep busy to keep worries at bay. Dale Carnegie's wisdom tells us that staying busy is a great way to keep our minds off our worries. This isn't about pretending our worries don't exist, but rather about using our energy for something productive, which can help lighten the load of worry on our minds. Let's take a look at Winston Churchill, the former Prime Minister of the UK. During World War II, he had to make huge decisions that would change the world. Even with all that pressure, Churchill famously said, "I'm too busy. I have no time for worry." This is exactly what Carnegie was talking about. Churchill was so wrapped up in his work, so focused on what he had to do, that he didn't have room in his mind for worry. His work kept his mind off the things that could have made him anxious or scared. Carnegie also tells us about a man who had lost 2 of his children. The man was drowning in grief, but found comfort in an unexpected place. His remaining child asked him to make a toy boat. At first, the man didn't want to, but he agreed and found that while he was making the boat, he wasn't thinking about his grief. Keeping busy, focusing on a task, gave him a break from his worries. This idea can be used in our everyday lives. Sometimes, our worries can feel like they're too much to handle, taking over our thoughts and causing stress. But when we look back at these worries later on, we often see that we spent a lot of time worrying about things that weren't really that important. By keeping busy, by putting our energy into tasks, hobbies, or work, we can keep our minds off these worries, which can help reduce their effect on our mental health. So, Carnegie's idea isn't about ignoring or hiding from our worries, but about dealing with them by keeping our minds busy with productive tasks. This can help lighten the load of worry, allowing us to live happier, less anxious lives. Point 6. Ask yourself, what are the odds? In Dale Carnegie's words, we often find ourselves fretting over things that are unlikely to happen. He asks us to ponder, what are the chances? Carnegie shares a bit of his own story to make his point. As a kid, he was scared stiff of thunderstorms, the thought of getting hit by lightning, and the terrifying idea of being buried alive. These fears, he realized, were eating him up, causing him unnecessary worry and stress. But as he grew older, he understood that the odds of these fears becoming reality were incredibly slim. This was a light bulb moment for Carnegie. He realized that most of our worries are about things that are highly unlikely to happen. So he suggests we ask ourselves, what are the chances? This simple question can help us see our worries in a new light. It's not about ignoring our worries, but rather assessing how likely they are to happen. If the odds are low, why let it eat up our peace of mind? Carnegie also talks about the power of acceptance. There are things in life we simply can't change, and it's important to learn to accept and adapt to these realities. Worrying about things we can't control only leads to unnecessary stress and anxiety. He also points out that we often waste too much energy worrying about things that aren't worth it. We tend to overthink a situation, which only makes our worries and anxieties worse. Instead, we should ask ourselves, how much worry is this situation worth? When should we stop worrying and accept the situation as it is? Carnegie introduces the idea of a stop-loss point, a point at which we decide to stop worrying and let go. This is a practical strategy to prevent our worries from spiraling out of control. By setting a limit to our worries, we prevent them from consuming us and causing unnecessary anxiety. In a nutshell, Carnegie's advice is to assess the likelihood of our worries, accept the things we can't change, and set a limit to our worries. By doing so, we can manage our worries effectively and live a more peaceful and contented life. Point 7. Change your attitude, change your life. Let's dive into a powerful idea. Your happiness is largely in your hands, shaped by your attitude and outlook, not your circumstances. Let's unpack this a bit more. First off, we're talking about choosing to see the glass as half full, not half empty. This idea comes from Marcus Aurelius, a big-shot Roman emperor, who said our lives are what our thoughts make it. So if you're always thinking negative thoughts, you're going to have a negative life. But if you focus on the positive, your life will be positive. Say you lose your job. Instead of moping about it, you could see it as a chance to try something new or start your own business. This change in thinking can make a big difference in your happiness. Next up, let go of any grudges or hard feelings you have towards others. Holding on to anger only hurts you, causing stress, worry, and even health problems like high blood pressure. Don't give your enemies that kind of power over you. If someone at work did you wrong, holding on to that anger will only make you unhappy. But if you forgive them and move on, you'll be free of those negative feelings and on your way to happiness. Another tip is to not expect thanks from others. Expecting thanks can often lead to disappointment because not everyone is naturally grateful. If you do something nice for someone, do it because it makes you feel good, not because you want something in return. That way, you won't be let down if they don't say thank you, and you'll be happier because you did something kind. Also, remember to count your blessings. There's a story about a businessman who lost everything, but realized he still had a lot to be thankful for when he saw a man who had lost his legs. This story shows how important gratitude is for happiness. Even in the worst situations, there's always something to be thankful for. By focusing on these things, we can change our outlook and find happiness. Another piece of advice is to just be yourself. Everyone is unique, and trying to be someone else only leads to unhappiness. Embrace your uniqueness and be proud of who you are. Accepting yourself is a big step towards happiness. Finally, do good deeds for others. Helping others not only makes them feel good, but also makes us happier. It creates a positive attitude that can stand up to worries and negativity. For example, volunteering at a local charity or helping a neighbor with their groceries can really boost your happiness. So, to wrap up, changing your attitude is a powerful way to move towards happiness. By choosing to be positive, letting go of grudges, not expecting thanks, counting your blessings, being yourself, and doing good deeds, you can really improve your happiness. These tips are practical and can be used in everyday life, making them effective in achieving happiness. Point 8. Is criticism just a sneaky compliment? Let's talk about criticism. It's not always easy to hear, but Dale Carnegie suggests we might want to look at it in a different light. He says think of it as a roundabout compliment. Sounds strange, right? Let's break it down. Imagine you've done something that's caught someone's eye. Maybe it's a project at work, a new idea you've shared, or an action you've taken. The fact that you're being criticized means you've stood out from the crowd. You've made an impact. Now, why would someone criticize you? Carnegie believes that often, people feel the need to criticize those who are achieving something, especially if those achievements outshine their own. This criticism isn't really about your flaws. It's more about their own insecurities or envy. They're trying to bring you down a peg or two to make themselves feel better. So, in a way, criticism is a backhanded compliment. It's a roundabout way of acknowledging your accomplishments. Instead of letting it get you down, Carnegie says you should see it as a sign that you're on the right path. As long as you're doing your best and aiming for the top, don't let criticism throw you off course. But hold on, not all criticism is the same. There's a difference between this kind of criticism and what we call constructive criticism. Constructive criticism is meant to help you get better. It's not about knocking you down, but giving you useful feedback that you can use to improve. Carnegie himself was a big believer in learning from his mistakes. He kept a folder labeled FDD, short for faults I have done. In it, he jotted down his own slip-ups and the criticism he got. But he didn't dwell on these negatives. Instead, he looked them over from time to time to learn from them and avoid making the same mistakes again. So, to wrap it up, criticism can actually be a roundabout compliment, according to Carnegie. It's a sign that you're making waves and standing out from the crowd. Don't let it get you down. Use it as fuel to keep aiming for the top. And when it comes to constructive criticism, welcome it as a valuable tool for personal growth and improvement. Point 9. Ditch mental fatigue for a brighter future. Let's talk about a simple yet powerful idea. Getting rid of mental and emotional exhaustion to make way for a brighter future. Sounds a bit vague, right? Let's break it down. Think about how you feel after a long day of physical work. Your body screams for rest, right? Well, your mind is no different. It needs a break from all the stress, worry, and negative emotions. Picture your mind as a computer that's been running nonstop. It starts to slow down, make mistakes, and isn't as efficient. By taking regular breaks, you're basically hitting the reset button on your mental computer, allowing it to work at its best. Now, if you're always feeling tired or low, it's crucial to figure out why. It's like a doctor figuring out what's wrong before they can treat you. Are you working too much? Are there emotional issues you haven't dealt with? Once you know what's causing your fatigue, you can start to tackle it. Taking time out for yourself is also important. And by that, I don't mean just sitting around doing nothing. I'm talking about doing things that help you relax and recharge. It could be reading a book, going for a walk, doing yoga, or spending time with your loved ones. It's like charging your mental batteries. For example, a businessman might find that a quick stroll in the park during his lunch break helps him get back to work feeling refreshed and focused. Another tip is to work smarter, not harder. This could mean finding quicker ways to get tasks done or sharing responsibilities. Let's say you're a chef who's been chopping vegetables by hand for hours. If you use a food processor, you can get the job done in no time, leaving you with more energy for other things. Finally, try to keep boredom at bay. Boredom often leads to overthinking and worry. By keeping busy, you can stop your mind from focusing on negative thoughts. For instance, a teacher might find herself worrying during her summer break. If she takes up a hobby or a part-time job, she can keep her mind busy and worry less. So, to sum up, getting rid of mental and emotional exhaustion involves regular rest, figuring out what's causing your worry, making time for relaxation, working smarter, and keeping boredom at bay. By following these tips, you can reduce worry and stress, making way for a brighter, more fulfilling future. Point 10. Sleep well for a healthy mind and body. In Dale Carnegie's teachings, he often talks about the importance of a good night's sleep for our overall health. But in today's fast-paced world, we often trade sleep for work, thinking we're being more productive. But are we really? Carnegie shares a story about a student of his who couldn't sleep. Night after night, he'd lay there, staring at the clock, worrying about not being able to sleep. This worry only made his insomnia worse. It was a never-ending cycle of worry and sleeplessness. But then he got some advice from a doctor. The doctor told him to stop worrying about not sleeping. Even if he wasn't sleeping, his body was still getting some rest. This new way of thinking helped the student relax, and before long, he was sleeping better and feeling healthier. This story shows us that worrying about sleep can actually make things worse. It's a perfect example of how our minds can affect our bodies, and vice versa. The student's worry about not sleeping was actually keeping him awake. And the less he slept, the more he worried. It was only when he stopped worrying that he was able to sleep better. Carnegie also mentions the work of a scientist named Dr. Kleitman. He found that people who think they have insomnia often sleep more than they realize. This means that just thinking you're not sleeping can be as harmful as not sleeping at all. So, what can we do if we're having trouble sleeping? Carnegie has some suggestions. Read until you're tired. Do some exercise to wear yourself out. Practice relaxation techniques to calm your mind and body. And most importantly, stop worrying about not sleeping. Worrying can actually make it harder to sleep. If it helps, you can even say a prayer to help calm your mind. In short, sleep is important for our health, but worrying about it can do more harm than good. Instead, we should focus on creating a calm and relaxing environment that helps us sleep. And remember, even if we're not sleeping, our bodies are still getting some rest. Understanding this can help reduce the stress and anxiety that comes with not being able to sleep, leading to better sleep and better health. Point 11. Tackle work and money worries head-on. Let's talk about a common worry that keeps many of us up at night: money. You might think, if only I made more money, I'd have no worries. But let's pause for a moment and consider this. Is it really about how much you make, or is it about how you manage what you make? Picture this: a high earner with no control over their spending. Despite their hefty paycheck, they're always in a financial pickle. Now, imagine someone with a modest income, but they're smart about their money. They live comfortably and sleep easy at night. It's clear as day, isn't it? It's not about the size of your income, but how you handle it. So, how do we get a grip on our money worries? Here's a simple, step-by-step guide. 1. Keep track of every penny you earn and spend. This gives you a clear view of your financial landscape. 2. Get some expert advice to create a budget that fits your income and lifestyle. This helps you live within your means. 3. Be a smart spender. Dodge unnecessary expenses and put your needs before your wants. 4. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Taking on more expenses than you can handle only leads to more money stress. 5. Build a solid credit rating. This comes in handy for future financial needs like loans or mortgages. 6. Protect yourself against the unexpected like illness or accidents. This gives you a safety net in case of emergencies. 7. If you have life insurance, avoid having it paid out entirely in cash to your beneficiaries. This could lead to misuse or mismanagement of the money. 8. Teach your kids about money management. This arms them with the skills to handle their finances in the future. 9. Look for extra sources of income. This could be a part-time job or a small business. 10. Steer clear of gambling. It's a risky game that could lead to financial disaster. In a nutshell, mastering your money worries isn't about making more, but managing better. By following this advice, you can achieve financial stability and kiss your money worries goodbye. Point 12. Conclusion. Worrying is a natural part of life, but it doesn't have to control you. By understanding the root cause of your worries, you can start to manage them effectively. It's important to live in the present moment, as dwelling on the past or worrying about the future can lead to unnecessary stress. Developing a positive mindset is key to overcoming worry. This includes practicing gratitude, maintaining a healthy lifestyle, and surrounding yourself with positive influences. Remember, you have the power to control your thoughts and reactions to situations. Effective problem-solving techniques can also help manage worry. Break down your problems into manageable parts and tackle them one at a time. Don't be afraid to seek help when needed, whether it's from a trusted friend, family member, or professional. Remember, worry is just a state of mind. By changing your perspective and adopting healthy coping mechanisms, you can stop worrying and start living a more fulfilling and peaceful life. Finally, remember to take time for yourself. Engage in activities that you enjoy and that help you relax. This will not only help you manage your worries, but also improve your overall quality of life.